I'm fat.
Yeah, I know.
I'm fat.
heard
I don't have the
you.
rundown in front of me. So, hey, June 28th, June 30th, if you're in the Tampa Bay area or Florida or whatever, or you're like
Global.
you're like our homie David Weingarten flying in from Denver
Yeah, watch it fly in.
to the comedy
Mecca.
comedy special taping event
Oh.
that you're directing
Oh, yeah.
and I'm performing. And so it's at the Gimmick in Ybor City, in the historic Ybor City in Tampa, Florida. Tickets are at my link tree. Lawsmith Works is that little slug at the end. And promo code Girthy,
Could have called that.
which I put on an email blast and forgot to take all my family members off. And my mom saw it. And we haven't talked about it, but she read it. She was like, you mentioned me in your email blast. I said, yeah. You see this head? I don't have any siblings, so I destroyed that shit coming out.
Right. You don't think that's why she's upset? You mentioned her vagina and not
She
the word
mentioned
girthy?
that part, but not the other part, which means she read the whole thing. Because, anyway, it's going to be a weird family reunion in Crystal River, Florida this weekend.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, boy. I'm just going to talk about other shit instead of our normal intro.
Yeah.
1960s Gator football team reunion, Crystal River, Florida. It's a
Say what
disgusting.
up to Spurrier.
It's the darkest Guess Who game because every year there's more dead players, so there's like 5 left that go. Spurrier, my dad, and a couple other dudes. This episode sponsored by Zupyak, ZUPYAK.com, promo code SWEAT, and let's get into some B2B, sexy B2B sales. Howdy time!
It's called sweat equity.
You are listening to the Sweat Equity Podcast.
Now I like that you guys casual dress. I gotta dress like that.
We call this Tampa formal. We can't see you on video.
Yeah, no problem. Hold on a sec. There we go.
There he is.
Yeah, there's that guy. Yeah, I like your go to work outfit.
Well, someone reflected back to me recently. They're like, I think you own a company half the reason so you can just wear whatever you want and periodically work out throughout the day.
Yeah. Why would we wear anything other than this?
Well, when you work behind a keyboard, it's like, you know,
Why am I even wearing this much?
we're in the shadows mostly. So it's like, you know, other than a Zoom and an occasional in-person meeting, I think most people are like that. Before I forget, we'll get into the interview, but I've noticed women do not put the Zoom camera on in meetings. And it's like, because they're like, fuck, I don't want to get dressed up for a Zoom call. I find that interesting.
Okay. I don't know. I think that's a sweeping assumption.
Well,
I have not seen
I'm
that.
painting with broad strokes. I'm talking the last 5 years I've noticed this heavily.
Really?
No one?
No,
Okay, cool.
Nope, crickets. If I had my soundboard, I'd do the crickets.
Those those improv classes are really kicking in for you. No,
Oh, totally. I know what you're saying.
You can yes
You
and.
totally can't see them.
Maybe-
And then what?
it's almost my birthday. You can give me a yes and once a year.
No, but.
Greg, we're going to ask you some lightning round questions. You got the music ready? Pew, 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 pew.
Sure, now
No, I don't.
now we-
God.
now hold
No,
on,
I
here we
don't.
go. So I've got Law.
Uh-huh.
Who else?
I'm Eric.
Yeah.
Eric. Okay.
So we'll start with that
Glad you're a
question,
fan.
which
Good.
we already answered. Did you watch the show before coming on? That's a no.
I guess I don't say my. Well, actually, I do have my name twice on the soundboard.
It's
so
all
it does
and
come up.
it's all over every title I put it on. I make sure both our names are on there for SEO.
Yeah.
Greg, is a hot dog a sandwich?
Yes.
Well, have you ever seen a UFO or a ghost? Or something
That's two
supernatural
questions.
that you can't explain? Have you ever seen something supernatural you can't explain?
I think so.
Do you believe in God?
Higher being, sure.
That's my only one that I have one. What time do you wake up in the morning?
7.
What time do you go to sleep? I'm curious on that one too. Well, some people are
6.
some people sleep like can get away with like 4 hours, freaks like that. I don't get it.
Yeah, not me. No, I'm like a 10 p.m., 10:30.
Healthy. When was the first time you French kissed someone?
No idea.
No idea. Either
Man, that's badass.
either it was bad, or I'm thinking, I was thinking
Just,
like
all
you're
over town.
macking. Yeah, we're talking.
Just a long time ago.
Yeah, we're talking what 80s music in the background. I'm guessing.
Jeez.
Shoulder pads.
The good old days.
Okay. And last question we'll ask is, what advice would you give your 13-year-old self? You can take some time on this one.
My 13-year-old self.
He froze. Or he's really thinking.
Still thinking.
He really took. I mean, I know it's a good question and all. Some people take it deep. Oh, there you are. You're back.
Oh, we lost you.
We lost you. You froze. It looked like you were thinking about the question for a while.
No.
And paused. If you can repeat the answer, throw it our way.
Yes. Yeah, my answer was things will get better. Things will get better. I didn't enjoy my early adolescence.
Well, tell us about that. What you grew up? Give us your parents' kind of grown-up situation that usually can give us the psychology 101.
You know, I was a classic nerd. Wasn't part of, all of the parties and the in-groups, and so felt very left out. So
Were you a nerd that got good grades? Because I was a nerd, but I didn't.
I did.
I got C+, so it was
I
kind of
did.
the worst of both.
Well, you got good grades though.
Eventually. He did. Yeah, I'm saying like you. That at least you get that part of it.
Yeah.
I was a nerd that got C+. It's like, fuck.
Were you a nerd?
Kinda.
Don't do that.
Well, I would say nerd overtones. There's a lot of nerd.
I mean, I've got nerd overtones. I mean, what does that even mean?
Wasn't the most popular kid, but I realized being funny has value as I got older and older, and that kind of helped, But repeating movie quotes isn't an identity like our generation. There's always like every fifth guy does that.
Oh, he's hilarious.
Right.
No,
he's never written a joke in his life. Greg, you've earned a plug. Let's tell the people where to find you, where to find your book, and anything else.
sure, you can find me on LinkedIn.
Greg Nutter.
Nutter on LinkedIn. You can find me me and my book at p3selling.com, and you can find the book almost anywhere. Amazon, iTunes, Walmart. You pick a spot where you like to buy books, and you can find it.
You're a B2B sales guru. Is that correct?
That's correct.
How much? I like asking this question to kind of sales focused executives, kind of in your area, a little bit advanced. I would say, how much have you sold over a lifetime? Do you know the cumulative revenue sales number?
I do not. That's a great question.
Does anybody?
Some
Have
sales
you gotten
guys.
that answer?
Some sales guys
Well,
know that off.
I mean, I
they
guess.
will tell you exactly to the penny.
Well, part of the challenge is that certainly I was in sales direct sales for a number of years, but then I took on sales team. So
Count those. Those count. Anything beneath you counts.
There you go. So then it would be a very big number.
Okay.
I give it like half credit, but yeah.
Right.
I give full credit.
Well, he's managing the sales. Okay, how about this rhetoric? If you're managing the sales team, you're not a rock star salesman. What do you think about that?
Sorry, if
if
you're managing a sales.
If they move you to management of the sales team, you are not a rock star salesman. You are better at managing the wild people that do sales.
Yeah, you raise an excellent point there.
I don't 100% believe it, but it is true the way a lot of people with vertical mobility within a company, a lot of the time, they go, this guy's not very good at sales. We thought he was when we hired him, but he's good at wrangling all the
Lots of times they're the big guns, though.
No,
Lots of times you call them in at the last, okay, close this sale.
I don't know. What say you? You have more experience.
Yeah. The more senior you get, the more process oriented need to be, the more structured, the more analytical in a way. A lot of some sellers can be successful just by, their personality and flying by the seat of their pants and that kind of stuff. That doesn't work in sales management, right? So it's all about, inspection, coaching. And you're right, is that a lot of sellers, when they get moved into sales management positions, struggle. I've had a couple of situations where I was brought in by a business owner, small business, who said, "Hey, I've just promoted my rep to sales director. Can you spend some time and coach them on how to do that job? Because it is a different job."
It's a different personality, I think. A lot of the rock star salesmen, I use them as my tentpole kind of person for sales, and they are very incentive driven. And kind of the really good ones really kind of block everything else in life out, except for like that and maybe like I had a guy at work.
Cocaine.
I had a guy in Florida for sure. I had a guy I worked next to. His favorite thing to do is jet skis, and like that's it. That's all he liked to do. And I was like, cool.
Jet skis and selling jet skis.
And he was this fucking rock star salesman. He was awesome, but he completely would zone out the world. I went with him to lunch to go grab lunch, come back. He talked the whole time. I said nothing. I know, shocking. And then when we got back, we parked. He's like, "Man, that's a good talk. Thanks, man." It's like, it wasn't you talked to no one basically.
Yeah, but let me point out something that you brought up there that I think is really, really key. Is that there's a really big difference between how you sell to consumers and how do you sell to businesses. So what you described there was a guy selling jet skis, probably to consumers. He was an expert on the product. He knew it really well.
No. He had a love for jet skis. He's B2B.
Right.
It could be jet skis for the example.
Yeah, for the example of B2C.
What did he actually sell now that you're correcting it?
I can't say of an NDA.
It was jet skis.
I was working somewhere that is very litigious.
But if you're selling to a company that's got a dozen steps, 20 people involved, a lot of criteria, just talking about your product, it doesn't work very well.
Yeah.
It's a different game.
I feel as though B2B is playing a lot towards, it's a lot longer timeline, right? Generally. And it's playing towards the...
beating the final boss.
Yeah, it's a lot... I mean, just the top of the funnel kind of stuff to get to the meeting to talk to someone is kind of, it can have 30 touch points, I see, especially in B2B SaaS kind of stuff.
Right. Taking a different angle at every meeting depending on your audience.
Right. Yeah. And it's one of those things, I find the through line for the sales aspect of it is to play to, this will save you time, this will help your professional life will get better. As a dumb kind of way to say it, I don't have like a formal way of saying it, but it's like it's playing more to that title of the person that makes the decision, and it's more of like an empathy of hearing all it's strategic empathy, I'll call it. It's hearing all the problems, writing them down, or logging them in your head, and flipping them back to, okay, here's what this SaaS does for you. Your project management efficiency is going to go by 30%, and we implement it,
Absolutely. So, I mean, companies don't buy products. Right. They buy solutions to problems.
Oh, he's getting choked up. He's really emotional about this.
Or ways to capture opportunities. Now, the problem is that in days of old, there was the decision maker. But today, there could be 10 to 20 people involved, and they all have different things that they want. And if you don't get a chance to connect with them, you don't know what they want, so you're not sure what you pitch. I like to say, I don't know what I'm selling until I know what you're buying, right? And so some people will buy, go home at 5. Some people want to buy, get a promotion. Some people want to buy just less hassle, right? So until you know that, you're not sure what to pitch. And everybody or a lot of people have different ideas and perspectives of what they want out of a sale. So that's the problem is that any 1 or 2 people involved in the sales cycle can torpedo you. There isn't the guy anymore. We used to call him the economic buyer or the key decision maker, or the veto, right?
CFO.
Yeah. But a lot of times those people will rely heavily on others. And 1 or 2 of those people can absolutely kill a deal.
Yeah, you have to find out in B2B. You need to find, especially the higher the ticket of the sale that you're trying to pitch, the more you have to ensure that they can make the decision with autonomy. And you have to remember you're a vendor to them. You're not. It's usually more of a relationship than just, all right, see you later, peace. Once it's closed. Right. It's an ongoing relationship. Typically, maybe I'm thinking B2B kind of software sales stuff, but or ongoing kind of marketing service world.
Just about anything B2B is going to have an ongoing maintenance of some kind.
Well, the incentive is you want it because if you made a sale with them once, let's call it B2B, like manufacturing, widgets, wombats, all that stuff, and it's like you want to keep that relationship so you can get the contract again. Or, right. Get referrals out, make them an advocate for you. What are the 3, what's the P3 kind of motif you've kind of created?
Where did the P3 come from?
Yeah.
Right. So,
I know motif. I know that word.
Let me kind of give you a starting point for it. So, the first question you ask yourself was, what is B2B selling? And not the outcome, which is, you want people to buy your stuff. It's what are the behaviors? And so in B2B selling, there's really 3 primary behaviors. The first one is understanding a situation and their perspectives. So what do they want, right? What are the needs that they have? The second behavior is influencing them to change those perspectives. Maybe they don't think buying today is important, or they think another vendor is better. So changing those perspectives.
Oh, I thought it was persuasion.
And,
damn it. All right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And the third behavior
earlier.
I was trying to guess the P's.
And the third behavior is messaging. So once you know their situation and you've done influencing, you want to message back to them something that resonates with them and motivates them to complete the sale. So if you look at those 3 behaviors and say, where do you use them? There's 3 critical areas, and they just happen to start with the letter P. First one is problems or opportunities. So which do they have that we can solve? How important are they, and how would you quantify them? The second P is people. Who's impacted by those problems? What's their perception? Who has the greatest influence, that you talked a little earlier, Law? And the last thing is around process. The last P is process. But it's not selling process. It's the buying decision process. So where are they? What step are they in making a decision? Where are we positioned? What should we do now based on that? So it's showing people how they navigate a buying decision. What tactics should they use? What strategies should they use to more successfully navigate that buying decision through problems, people, and process?
A lot to chew on that. I'm trying to think which way to go here. Well, so do you ever, what about another P, psychology of the person you're talking to? Oh, another P. A lot of P's, dude. Pontius Pilate.
Yeah.
That's a double P.
No, give me pneumonia.
Ooh, girl.
Absolutely. People and companies make buying decisions in very predictable ways. When you go to buy a car or a house or any big purchase, you go through 5 stages, 5 very predictable stages in making that decision. And my job as a seller is to figure out where are you, and based on where you are, to come up with a corresponding action. For example, I call you up, hey, Eric, I've got a great consulting service and all that kind of stuff. And you say, well, I'm just about to put out an RFP for that. Now, is he in the prospect stage? No, he's a long way down. He's about to put an RFP out. So what I do is very different than what I would do if he said, hey, I don't know if I need any consulting services. Tell me about that. Then he'd be more of a prospect, right? Similarly, if somebody was just about to sign a deal and I said, hey, don't sign it. Let me tell you about a new product we're going to have later in the year. Like, that's a stupid thing to do because someone's just ready to put, a pen on paper and you just kill the deal. So the psychology of how people make decisions is really critical to how you effectively sell.
I've always heard the rhetoric, when you're in sales, you're in the trust business, no matter what you're doing. How do you get that across to a prospective customer, client, what be it, whoever you're selling to, in the initial stages of meeting them?
You focus on solving problems, not on pitching product.
Or your personality or resume?
It's
like, for instance, I hate the guy that in any kind of social setting that pushes the resume out on you. Like, oh yeah,
right.
yeah. Well,
Right.
for sure. Yeah. I'm a PhD.
Right.
I like the other side of it is, hi, my name's whatever. What do you do?
Yeah.
Go around the room.
Yeah.
What do you do? What do you do?
Yeah.
And then you get bored with that, and you go, "What's the first time you French kissed?"
Right. You ever seen a UFO?
Yeah. It's
medium talk.
It's focusing more on like you said, the person, their problems, their needs, and focusing on trying to address it. So I like to say, instead of arm wrestling over a product decision, you're on the same side of the table and you're collaboratively working on solving a problem that they've stated they have and they want to fix. That's how you build trust. If you continue to go, well, let me tell you about my product. Let me tell you about my company. Let me tell you why we're so good, right? That erodes trust. It's just like, that's a salesman. But if I then said, well, what's your business? Tell me what areas you struggle with the most. What worries you? Are you growing your business as fast as you want to? Is that a big deal? Right? And so now I'm showing I care about your situation and your needs, and that builds trust.
And you also got them to talk about their favorite subject.
Themselves.
Yeah.
Right. Well, like I said, I don't know what I'm selling until
it's an open-ended question. Are you growing as fast as you would? The answer is kind of rhetorical, right? It's like, no.
Or there's no answer where you're like,
there's no American businessman that's like, yes, we are growing at a calculated rate.
Faster. Oh, I know you're going to say that.
So you almost do like a tarot card kind of reading of the. It's like it's so open-ended, it goes in the direction you want it to.
But
they're talking and you listen after that.
Uno.
Yeah. But here's the thing, though. You made a great point that I make in the book.
Was Uno?
No, I'm kidding. It was tarot cards. No, I was saying like horoscope is so open ended. Any chick that talks to me about, I told you this. Did I say this on the podcast? Every girl I've talked to, like dating wise, on a dating app, they want to guess. The information's on the profile. They want to guess what sign I am.
Right.
And they can never get it even in 3 guesses. Not once. Isn't that weird?
You gave them too many chances.
I go, I'll give you 3 guesses. You won't get it. There's 12 options.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
All right. Anyway. So that was a side note. Anyway. You guys were saying.
I was just going to build on what you said there, Law, is that you can ask people about, their problems. Like I said, that open-ended question, is your business going as fast as you'd like? And we all have lots of problems. The important thing is that we don't always do anything about them. We live with a whole lot of stuff. And so the second question is really more important. Someone says, yeah, it's not growing as fast as I'd like. The second question, where you want to take the temperature of that problem, you say something like, is that a big deal? Do you care? Are you willing to do something to fix it? And a lot of people say, nah, I got a lifestyle business. I don't care. Great, move on. You want to find something, a problem where someone is really motivated about fixing it. Until you find that, you got nothing. So it's that second drill down. And you'll find, lots of problems people have. My shoe squeak, my wiper blade doesn't work well, but I'm not going to bother fixing it, right? It's finding something that they want to fix. And then that's your piece of gold. That's your nugget that you can go in and sell to.
Like a friend that's an alcoholic, they can't start getting sober until they want to do it themselves.
Yep.
This is a cool metaphor, right?
And it needs to be feeling important. They need to feel like, I got to do this, right? And now you can help them. You can suggest, hey, what happens if you don't fix this? I knew another guy who had a similar problem. He got fired within 6 months. Do you think that could happen here? Right? Or they were always coming home late. Had a big problem at home. His wife left him. How does your wife? Yeah. How do you think your wife feels about you coming home every night? Yeah. Is that? And so you're trying to influence. There are some questions that build influence because I'm getting them to think about the consequences of not solving that problem.
Death.
I was thinking of Old School, where he comes home and she's what? Hello?
New people jump out of your goddamn magic show.
God, it's such a good movie. So process. Let's talk process.
You notice how I just quoted a movie and never do that, and then we were talking about what a douchebag move it is.
Microprocesses. I'll match you with Marty Short.
Yep, thanks. Didn't need it, but
if you're down there, if you're down in the bottom, I'll hang out there too.
Okay, yeah, come on in. Water's cold.
Process. It's a thing. As you mentioned, I'll echo that. As you get older, you kind of really hammer that in. I think just naturally because you're like, well, I don't know. I'm going through that. Like I see a lot of stuff I'm doing routine and it's bad, and I'm like, am I gonna just fucking do this forever? Kind of thing. That's a personal part. Business wise and sales wise, talk to us about that part, the process aspect of B2B sales.
Yeah, good question. So, as I mentioned, companies make buying decisions in very predictable ways, right? They go through 4 or 5 stages. And too often as a seller, we have a sales process. We prospect, and then we gather some information. We call it discovery. Then we present, maybe we objection handle. Then I propose, and I close, right? In fact, if you look at a CRM systems, a lot of people track where is the deal. The problem with that is it doesn't matter what the sales rep has done. It matters what the buyer is doing. Buyers go through these, like I said, very particular stages. They first decide, do I have a problem? Is it big enough? Should I do anything about it? Then they move on to, well, what could I do? And they start gathering information. And then they evaluate alternatives. Which one's better? And then lastly, they kind of drill down, select one, and do all the final pieces. So the key around process is that the selling process has to follow the buying process. You need to start with, where is the buyer? And based on where they are, you know what you do. Instead of, like I said earlier, launching in, because I just made the first call, I'm going to, evaluate you on whether or not qualify you as an opportunity or stuff like that.
When you don't sound very sure of yourself. Kidding. I'm doing a little role play.
Oh no. So the key is that the selling process has to follow the buying process, and you look for clues based on what somebody's doing, what your prospect is doing, to tell you where they are in that buying decision, and then based on where they are, tells you what you should do, not the other way around.
Are there ways to research predictability before you talk to them? Is there data out there.
Stalk them on LinkedIn.
Well, I mean, we have a lot of data out there. It's not really like organized correctly. I feel like we're in this kind of weird era where there's a lot of data. We don't know how to use it or whether to validate it as reliable or relevant data a lot of the time. But I like to ask the experts, because they usually have like a weird nugget, like you should check this site out. That's not like Deloitte or something. Like it's something. It's research.
A year.
It's not a census.gov kind of link. It's something that's like, well, here's a predictability chart from here for every industry kind of thing. Is there any of that?
There's probably lots of sources for it. The key thing is that every industry, or maybe by industry, by company size, profile, will have certain typical problems that they'll be wrestling with. For example, I've done work for a small company that sells robotic equipment to car manufacturers, right? Things that drill holes and put on bolts and things like that. And so instead of calling up and saying, hey, do you need a piece of robotic equipment that drills holes? They turn it around and say, hey, we know a lot of people in your business are struggling with labor issues, finding staff, keeping them trained, having them show up for work on time, So it is very predictable that certain companies will have certain problems. And so you use that when you're prospecting. If you're in a different business, you could be, hey, I hear a lot of people in your business are struggling to grow your sales, whatever. So you can do research around an industry and a size of a company and say, these are the top 4 or 5 things that they really struggle with. And then that's your prospecting pitch. That's your go-in pitch. And someone will say, no, we don't really care about the turnover. We like having our hiring my cousin is in HR. He does all the hiring, right? So it's fine.
Yeah.
But we really have a problem in quality. Oh, tell me about that, right? So that's where you can predict kind of not necessarily whether or not you're going to win the deal, but you can predict whether or not your product functionality will resonate with them. Can you solve the problems they typically have?
Last question, you've had 35 years of experience, which is, is prolific nowadays to have it in one kind of sector, really. What one nugget can you give our audience and us before we sign off here?
I would say for a salesperson, I'll give you 2. One for a salesperson, one for a company. For a salesperson, you want to become an expert on the problems you solve. And that's not just about, we solve this, we solve this. Who has those problems? What does it cost? Why would it be important, right? So focusing on problems you solve in almost every conversation you have with a client, right? Not on your product. And if you keep that top of mind, your client or your prospects are going to see you totally different. A big differentiator from the next, sales rep that comes in. Lastly, for companies, you need a sales process in place. For owners, entrepreneurs, you can't just hire a good rep, give them a comp plan, cross your fingers. Way too important to leave someone else. So you need something in there, and the owner needs to be involved.
I'll add a third one. Don't be too eager, like you're on a first date. If you're trying to get asked so hard, it reeks of I need the sale.
Don't sound desperate.
Right. Yeah. So thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. P3. We'll put the links in the episode description for anybody who wants to follow up.
Appreciate that. When might we get published so that I can promote
2027? Probably next week.
Week tops.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Look forward to seeing it, and I'll get it out to, I get 3,000 or more people on LinkedIn. I'll get it out to.
We'll send you the video if you want to upload it yourself too.
Yep. Appreciate it.
See ya.
All right, guys. Take care.
Thanks.
Toodles.
Bye.